Title: Benny's First Day. Benny is a school bus, and today is his first day of work. Finally, he could send all the lovely children to school, and he wouldn't have to be at home again because he have a new school bus driver and he will be his driver. Benny was so excited. Today is his first day to send all the kids to the school, and he always wanted to do that. Now he can finally do that. He can't wait to meet all those lovely children. And so Benny was even happier because in the morning, John, which is his bus driver, already cleaned him up and polished him until he was as clean as new. And he also painted all those bus doors and make it look shiny and colorful. Benny loved himself a lot. In the morning, John checked the watch and said, "Okay, Benny, ready for the first day of work? We gotta go." Benny smiled and nodded, although John can't see him nodding the head. John went on Benny's car, the bus, and started driving to the first person to pick up. From far, Benny and John see a little girl holding her mother's hands. The girl has 2 pigtails and wearing a very smart blue dress. Benny thinks that she's a really kind and nice, cute little girl. But when Benny and John arrived, the girl immediately frowned and she shook off her mother's hand and quickly went on the bus. And then when she saw John, she said, "You, why are you late?" John was curious what she was talking about. He checked the watch and said, "No, I'm not late. I'm just on time." The girl frowned and said, "Whatever." And then she went to her seat and folding her hands in front of her. John did not know what happened to her, but he decided to not talk anything to her. So he went on to find the next passenger to bring them to the school. The next passenger was a baker's son and daughter. There were 2 sons and they are twins, and the daughter is just their daughter. And when they arrived there, wanted to pick them 3 up, they saw that the twins are fighting and the girl was just there crying. John, the bus driver, did not know what to do. And then the boys were still fighting, and the crying girl just slowly walked up into the car and sat down. Her crying was a little bit terrifying. And then the 2 boys was just still fighting here and fighting there, and one of them even kicked Benny the bus. Benny felt pain, and he saw that on his body there's a shoe mark on his body. It's not as shiny as before anymore. Benny was so upset, and John said, "You 2, come up here. Don't fight anymore. You'll be late for school." The 2 boys rolled their eyes and stormed into the bus and sat down. But they still started fighting and arguing on the bus. And the next stop, they went to pick up 5 girls from the same mother. The 5 girls were standing at the bus stop waiting. So when they arrived there, the 5 girls went up the car. but they were chatting so loudly that the whole bus only can hear their noises. They were chanting blah 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 blah, all about their own stuff, and they did not control their volume of their voice. They were like shouting, talking to each other. And to the next stop, the boy was the mayor's son, but John was terrified because the mayor's son was known for scribbling. And then suddenly he saw the mayor's son scribbling on his bus. Benny was terrified and shocked. How can he do that? John quickly called the boy onto the bus. Only he stopped scribbling. And when he closed the bus, finally all the students are in the bus already. But the bus is so noisy. He can't take it anymore. John thought of an idea. He turned on the music very loud and covered all the children's noises. And the children immediately went silent until the next minute. John thought his plan worked and smiled and continued his way to school. Benny also thought that all the children are finally calmed down and not talking and arguing and fighting and scribbling anymore. But just in a minute, they started all shouting to John and said, "Why do you do it? Stop the music!" John was shocked and almost fell out of his seat. And he quickly turned down the music volume. He saw all the children staring at him. Benny was upset. He thought his first day of school would be amazing, with amazing kids, nice and friendly children, and all those amazing laughter. But this is what? Arguing, fighting, giving faces. What is this school life all about? He was so upset. John also felt that Benny was upset because when they arrived at the downhill, Benny stopped and didn't want to go on again. John tried to calm him down and said, "Benny, I know it's not really nice about these kids, but bear with them. I promise you later we don't need to fetch them again if they are still so rude and mean." Benny sighed and continued the road to the school. All the children went down the bus and they went to their classes without even saying goodbye to John. So John went to report about this situation to the headmistress. When it is finished, the end of school, the headmistress went to find the children that went on the bus and said, "What are you children doing? Now, Benny and John don't want to fetch you all again because you are so rude and mean." One of the girls said, "No, we're not. It's just because John is late. He was late to fetch me to school. I hate him." The headmistress was so angry and said, That's not manners, girl. Do you know what's manners? That's not how you talk to people. And John the bus driver is not late. You are the one that wanted to be early. Then, if you want early, let your parents send you to school so you can be as early as you want." The girl stunned there, and she don't know how to reply anymore. And the headmistress complained about everybody's behavior, and they thought of themselves, did they really did very terrible in the morning? They think they did. When they went to the bus stop, Benny and John saw them and frowned. Why are they still back again? But they hope they aren't so mean and rude again. The children went out the bus, and surprisingly, they are all going up the bus neat and quietly and very nicely. And when they went on the bus, they all gave John and Benny an apologies and quietly sit to their seats. John and Benny was very surprised. They were all so nice and quiet now. Finally, they can have a good drive back and send them to their homes. On the way, the children talked about amazing stuff and interesting things, and they also talked with John nicely and politely. Benny also felt happy that finally in his bus, no one was shouting and screaming and arguing and fighting anymore. It was all peace and harmony. And thank God that the situation in the morning did not happen ever again. Thank you.